Cornel West. What are we on? Day 3 of topics on him since his announcing. So we'll start with Ben Dixon. I got a little bit of Jen Perlman for this upcoming segment that we're going to be talking about. And they both do the same thing where they give super praise to Cornel West, and then they proceed to say how they're not going to support him. But this episode, so it looks like he recorded it yesterday, so it's brand new. Just a portion of it we're going to be listening to. I'm not listening to 28 minutes of Mr. Dixon. So let's listen.
Yesterday on June 5th, that he would be running for president of the United States of America, and he would be running on the Movement for People's Party political ticket, the also known as the People's Party, which is a misnomer, but I will discuss the party that he has affiliated with a little bit later. I want to talk about the man, the legend, the myth, Dr. Cornel West, who I consider myself to be a student of Dr. West, and though I've never sat in a lecture with him, I still have studied his work for at least the last 20 years. I mean, I have read his works, I've listened to his lectures, I've watched his sermons, and I am a huge supporter of Dr. West, which is why it pains me to have to stop and ask the question, Dr. West, what the hell are you doing? And I asked that question even at great risk to myself because of the circles that I run in. A lot of my colleagues and comrades, and quite frankly, a lot of my supporters support Dr. West and are likely to support his campaign. So I don't want you to think that I take this, what I'm saying, lightly, or haven't sat down and thought this through with a significant amount of concern and attention. But I come to this question this morning because of the times in which we live. I really have to pause and ask Dr. Cornel West, a man who I admire so much so that I still, when he came on the show with us about 3 years ago, he was on the show and he mentioned that he had read my book, God Is Not a Republican. And
oh, God. Benjamin Dixon has a book called God Is Not a Republican. I'm trying to think of another title of a book that would clearly indicate coonery besides that. God is not a Republican. Is that to assume that God is a Democrat, or it could be? The better thing to say is God was a communist, or at the very least, God was a socialist. And I don't mean one of these socialists in the framework of a Bernie Sanders or AOC. I mean a socialist in the true sense of a socialist, the ideological sense of a socialist. But that is a book written purely for red-blue game, and that's where these black aspiring capitalists want to be. They want to be the face, because right now we're in a very heightened sense of we need to have diversity, meaning not diversity of thought, of educational background, of economic background, not diversity in that way. Very hollow diversity. And these black aspiring capitalists want to be those faces, want to be the Al Sharptons, selling out the people while being the face of helping the people. Coonery. So when I was listening to this and I heard this book name, and some of you probably already heard this, I don't know, this might be a year old as far as his book, but I heard that, I was like, oh God, that's terrible. That's terrible. But let's continue.
Honestly, I'm still flattered to this day. So I want people to understand my objection to Dr. Cornel West is not on substance of his character. And it's certainly, I'm sure it won't be on.
So he want to make it clear, because Dr. West read his book, this is not a critique of his character. So if he didn't read your book, is that the implication? Or are you just throwing that in there as self-praise? because it had no use with this story. It didn't even fit in. I don't know why you said it, but there we go.
On the substance of his campaign, because I'm certain they're going to be almost one for one. He's going to represent what I stand for. But when we look at the political viability of a third party in this country, specifically the party that Dr. West has affiliated himself with, the People's Party, which is run and founded and run by a white man by the name of Nick Brana. The People's Party that Dr. West is running on is, what is it, just 6 years old. They have no chapters in any part of this country. There are no local chapters that are in position to actually help Dr. West win. Not even win, but to even get on the ballot. And as we look at what happened in 2016, we look at what's going on in the build up to 2024. One of the most valuable commodities for the Republican Party right now, which is so much further than just your regular standard Republicans. We're dealing with fascists who have made it clear that their goal is to eradicate leftism and wokeism and to leave it. What did Ron DeSantis say?
We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations. We will fight the woke in the halls of Congress.
So is Ben Dixon attempting to sell or dissuade people out of support for Cornel West based on this culture war talking point of scary Ron DeSantis, or a possibility that he may win? Have you seen the polls, Mr. Dixon? Have you seen the polls that indicate that Donald Trump almost laps Ron DeSantis twice? Something like 56%, and then Ron's at like 30%, something like that. I'll get to the poll later, so don't quote me as that the exact number, but those are in the field. It's almost twice the amount. It's not quite twice the amount. So we're fear-mongering about the second place person. And not only like a close second, not a photo flash second, but a distant second place person, which tells me he's in the lane of culture war and he's not getting out of it to even make the critique of Cornel West running with the MPPs. He's not willing to come out of that shell in the same way that a Joyanne Reed, if you watch her show, she never comes out of her culture war lens. Every episode is through that. And this is, I guess he's one of those. I hadn't heard him in a long time, probably over a year, or just about a year was the last time I covered a one from him. And I think it was No Minky Kuntz. It was him and her that was an episode. So, but let's listen.
We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We will make woke ideology, leave it to the dustbin of history. It's gone.
That's the exact reason why Ron DeSantis is not going to win the nomination. Wokeism. Now, Donald Trump talks about wokeism, but not in the same way. Like, this is his bread and butter. Is Ron DeSantis. That only works in certain segments. That'll work in Florida. That may work in Arizona. He's not winning a nomination based off of that. So stop it. And again, Ron DeSantis is in second place.
That's what we're fighting against in 2024. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Ron DeSantis and his war on all things black, on all things.
This is the same thing as Russiagate. He's selling fear. Like, wait, guys. Yeah, no, he like Dr. West is great under regular circumstances. Last time we had the pandemic. Before that, we had Russiagate. This is the new one. Wokeism, Ron DeSantis, pretty hollow. Let's continue and then move on to Jen Perlman.
Progressive on all things that quite frankly, Cornel West stands for.
I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy.
Listen, you're not going to get me to disagree with Cornel West on what he's fighting for. what he stands for. I absolutely agree with everything that he just listed. I'm going to play more of his announcement speech that he gave yesterday, but I mean, as it stands right now, I agree with everything that Cornel West stands for. I just believe and quite honestly know that two things: the party he has affiliated himself with is dysfunctional. It is run by one person who just started that party 6 years ago, and they do not have the ballot access, nor do they have chapters locally. They don't have the organizing capacity. They've never organized anything more than a single protest. That is the extent of the People's Party organizing prowess. And in fact, this is the biggest moment for the People's Party ever. They tried to run a right-wing comedian by the name of Jimmy Dore for president in 2024, but when
So he's right-wing into his audience. Ben Dixon is just he's so professional managerial class. He's so professional managerial class, this guy. Yeah, I can't fuck with that shit.
but when they saw that wasn't getting any traction, the Movement for People's Party, the party run and owned by founded by Nick Brana.
Not that it wasn't getting any traction. Jimmy Dore didn't want to run, or Jimmy Dore decided not to run. If Jimmy Dore made an announcement, Jimmy Dore would trend on Twitter for sure. He wouldn't make the same corporate news outlets that Dr. West does, because Dr. West is nationally known in corporate media.
They went and got Cornel West, whose name is big enough to be the biggest thing that ever happened to that party. Now, you tell me if that party is in position to do anything more than be a sandbag for the progressive movement, to be an aid for the fascist movement.
With this logic, Mr. Dixon, and any professional class person with this logic, crystal ball has the same sort of logic. How can a third party ever be built up? With their logic, a third party can only be established and be viable overnight. Like literally 1 year, people are voting Democrats and Republican. The very next year, this third party emerges where everybody goes. That's the only way, a mass exit within a 12-month period. It can't be slowly built up, because otherwise we're siphoning votes. This is essentially the argument that he's getting to. So I give him credit, or was going to give him credit for it, because his one of his main critiques thus far in this stream is that this is strategically. If you're just talking strategically, I agree with Ben Dixon right here, and I said the same thing. Just forget Nick Brana, forget all the financial corruption of the People Party under Nick Brana. Just strategically, why would you pick a party that's on at best 3 ballots out of 50 ballots? I'm thinking 3 states out of 50 states. 47 states, they're not on the ballot. Why would you do that? So strategically, that is a fair point, and isn't a point that I made myself. But this point that somehow we're aiding fascists, that shit doesn't work no more, man. You used it with the pandemic. You use it with Trump. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no other scarier person they can sell us other than Trump. You see how this tactic is not going to be as effective as before, because you said that about Trump. We went through a term with Trump, and we went through a term with Biden, and now we're going like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You can't sell this anymore, or you're not going to have the same people buying the same tickets, the number of tickets on this talking point that Ben is trying to sell right here. Didn't want to play all of his episodes, so let's just play that part, and then let's get to the next video in this section. Let's listen to what their take is on this same thing.
But it suits him.
It's going to be similar to, you know what? I won't describe it. So let's just listen to it and take it from there. So,
and I don't know what kind of ballot access the Forward Party really has yet. I don't know.
Fair. For a brief moment,
it was bad.
Couldn't actually keep it together.
No, it was really embarrassing.
But he is a great man. He is a great scholar, and he is extremely much like Nina.
I love him.
Yeah, much like Nina Turner. And whenever you hear them speak, you really do get taken to church in a way that is extremely powerful, and it's through love and powerful.
Yeah, he's all
connection.
about that. He's all about that. And
Yeah.
I have nothing but love and respect for, like, this is not, I'm like, the whole thing bothers me.
And that's why when we talk about the left really can't get out of its own way, you're seeing that firsthand right now, because there are many reasons why Dr. West would actually be, you know, Jordan Chariton of Status Quo is a good friend. And he has said time and again that there is a real opening right now for a true left populist to run for president, even if it was to be done outside of the two-party system, because the people who are running in the Democratic Party right now are not the answer. However, somebody like Dr. West absolutely does embody that MLK Malcolm spirit that is needed.
Could be the answer
right now.
So could be the answer.
How he ever came to the conclusion.
It so feels like they want to say they want him to run with the Democratic Party. That's what it feels like to me when I was watching this. It's like on the tip of their tongue that they want to say, run a Democratic Party. So I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. Tell me if you pick up on that same sort of vibe that I get.
It was of great inspiration to both of us. You know, I actually didn't have the pleasure of meeting Dr. Cornel West when he was in Miami 3 years ago, but Jen did for a brief moment. And
it was bad.
Couldn't actually keep it together.
No, it was really embarrassing.
But he is a great man. He is a great scholar, and he is extremely much like Nina.
I love him.
Yeah, much like Nina Turner. And whenever you hear them speak, you really do get taken to church in a way that is extremely powerful, and it's through love and powerful.
Yeah, he's all
connection.
about that. He's all about that. And
Yeah.
I have nothing but love and respect for, like, this is not, I'm like, the whole thing bothers me.
And that's why when we talk about the left really can't get out of its own way, you're seeing that firsthand right now, because there are many reasons why Dr. West would actually be, you know.
You see how he's stopping short? It feels like he understands that could lead to them. What he wants to say is run as a Democrat. Because what do you mean get the left get out of his way by what he's doing by running for them? And it feels like he's stopping short of saying just run as a Democrat, implying like this is the candidate that the progressive Democrats need to run as a Democrat. That's essentially what he's saying. He said, not the Marianne Williamson. He said that the people who are in the race now are not what the left needs. That's Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr. So it feels like, and maybe this is Ben Dixon's disappointment too, is that it feels like they would rather him run as a Democrat. Let's just leave it there and let's play it.
Jordan Chariton of Status Quo is a good friend. And he has said time and again that there is a real opening right now for a true left populist to run for president, even if it was to.
There is a true opening for a true left. There's a real opening for a true left populist to run for president. Now, notice when he says, even if, that's the part that's IQ in here. When he says the even if part.
Firsthand right now, because there are many reasons why Dr. West would actually be, you know, Jordan Chariton of Status Quo is a good friend. And he has said time and again that there is a real opening right now for a true left populist to run for president, even if it was to be done outside of the two-party system. Because the people who are running.
Even if it's done outside the two-party system, if you say even if it's done the so-and-so way, you're implying the normal standard way would be what? Democrats. They so want this guy to run as a Democrat. Like, real radicals are disappointed he's not running a real third party, like a that independent or like a Ross Perot did, or Green Party that has ballot access. I think in this video they mentioned like 38 states. I've also heard 40. It's somewhere around 38, 40 states. So let's listen. That means currently it would go up because the remaining states they would apply to try to be in on the ballot once they get a candidate.
Running in the Democratic Party right now are not the answer. However, somebody like Dr. West absolutely embody that MLK Malcolm spirit
And
that is
so
needed
could be the answer.
right now.
So could be the answer.
How he ever came to the conclusion that his best option was to run with a party that, forget all of the negatives associated with it, the fact that the party doesn't even have ballot access.
Cornell is not just a great speaker, he's a great human. Like he's special. And I do think he is exactly I have nothing but just really good things to say. And it bothers me because
that's why it bothers me even more.
Oh yeah.
Because this decision makes no sense.
Well,
none.
I don't understand.
For all of the faults of the Green Party, they at least have ballot access right now, right at this moment, in 38 states.
Did you make sure to check your current numbers? Okay.
38.
Because I haven't looked in a while what they are. But yeah.
Dr. West would do better to run in Andrew Yang's Forward Party. Now, I don't know how many states they have access to, but I can guarantee you it's better than what the People's Party has.
You're assuming that the Forward Party would want him because they probably wouldn't.
Perhaps.
And the Green Party is just too obtuse to recognize what's good for them. So that's the problem with those. And I don't know what kind of ballot access.
So what other place are you talking about?
I don't know.
You just X'd out everybody else but the Democratic.
No Labels Party. That is the.
Of course you're not. Where are you getting to?
That is trying to recruit Joe Manchin to run for president.
Where are you getting to then?
But we're still convinced that this could actually happen.
At this point, I got to tell you, nothing would surprise me.
Nothing would surprise me either. And of course, with that said, the Libertarian Party obviously is out. So you're not going to have Dr. West on that particular ticket.
But why the People's Party when they don't have ballot access?
If you're going to run, and this is another thing that somebody suggested, that if you're going to run, why?
Think about it. What party haven't they called out and says a yay or nay? Green Party. We're already talking about how MPP, Libertarian Party, and I can't remember if he said something else. No for the Libertarian Party. Green Party has problem. Then who's left? Who's left? Liberals? The liberals, what they call themselves, they've rebranded themselves as progressives. They are the white moderate. He is soft massaging, soft pedaling that Dr. West should be running as a Democrat. Isn't that what just happened? These are the people, the faces of the problem of why the left can't gain traction to exit these capitalist parties. These people here, they stand on that path and throw bananas for us to slip up. Why aren't all of you, the Ben Dixons, these people and all the liberals, why aren't y'all all corralling them to say, hey, run green, draft them Green Party? Why aren't you saying that? You love him. You believe in all the stuff he's saying. So why wouldn't you push him to do that?
Even run under the label of the People's Party when you could just run as an independent and just figure out how you're going to get that ballot access.
I don't know.
Which I do think requires a lot of money and a lot of signatures.
And maybe that's what, maybe they offered him an option to be able to get that. I don't know.
Yes. And here's the thing, Sable. I don't even want to mention his name.
No.
But the person who's running the operation, please. Eventually, where there is so much smoke, there is inevitably fire. Can't ignore that.
You're just saying it's Nick Brana.
It's not 2, 3, or 4. It's many. And do not forget that a person who has spent a lot of time, effort, and money propping up this party is Jimmy Dore. And Dr. West really likes Jimmy. Now, maybe there's a relationship circumstance here where he feels obligated to do this because Jimmy says he's committed to donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to see this through.
I don't see that. I don't see Cornell. I don't see that.
Left, we know what is.
This show is where he provides all the detailed content, and then she just comes in and go, yeah, like has a little. She has she gives the emotion. He gives the detail, and then he goes emotion. You know know what I'm saying? That's what this whole dynamic is about. That's how they run their show.